This Shabbat we're introduced to the journey of Avraham Avinu, our patriarch Abraham, who is a powerful personality, who discovers monotheism, who recognizes that there is a creator of the universe, and he bequeaths this powerful message to mankind forever eternal, that there is something higher, there is something beyond the physical world, there is something to aspire to that is of a spiritual nature, a connection to Hashem. And so often the Torah juxtapositions different themes, opposite themes, and the contrast emphasizes the power and the strength of its message. This week, we're also taught about the nephew of Abraham. His name was Lot, but he actually meant very little. And if we look at the flaws of his personality, it contrasts so vividly with the strengths and the power of Avraham Avinu. On various occasions, we read about Lot. When Abraham and Sarah, his wife, were leaving Egypt, it says they traveled from Egypt back to the Promised Land. Velot imo, and also Lot. Lot was a tag-along. He was somebody that just accompanied whatever was happening. He didn't initiate, he didn't pioneer, he didn't blaze the trail of a journey for mankind. He attached himself to the coattails of Abraham, and he was what we call in Yiddish the Nachschlepper, the appendix to something important. And that represents the personality who was parasitical, who always wanted to derive the energy from someone else, was not a contributor, not a make-it-happen kind of person. A second insight into Lot was when there was conflict between the herdsman of Abraham, his uncle, and the herdsman of Lot. And Abraham says, choose which way you want to go. Choose whichever land is important to you. And we see the priority of Lot's life. He chooses the lush land that would be so beneficial to his herds, notwithstanding the fact that that same area surrounding Sodom was evil, and the people were evil. And he did not care about risking his own personality, his own family, and how they might be influenced by an environment so evil, so steeped in negative elements, because he was driven by the desire for finance, for money, for the priorities that were important in his life. And when we look at these weaknesses in the life of Lot, the nephew of Abraham, it only brings into more focus the power of Abraham. He wasn't attached to any other force or energy in this world. He was the initiator of energy. He was the pioneering force. He was the one that was going out to discover new heights, new places spiritually. He did not stand back from the challenge of encountering the new, and he led the charge. And when it came to Abraham confronting a choice where he'd won a war and he was going to be rewarded financially, he said, I don't want the finance. That's not what my life is for. I am striving to and aspiring to achieve a spiritual goal. That is the wealth that I want to bequeath to my children. The choices of Abraham were so clearly in the scope and in the place of the priorities of values, of commitments to spiritual goals, to elevate our lives towards something higher. And that's why the portion is called LECHA, because Abraham was a holech. He was journeying. He was constantly walking and striving to achieve more. We know that angels are considered static. They are omdim. They stand in one place because they don't have challenges, and therefore they cannot really grow. Abraham was our father, and he taught us to be walkers, to walk the talk, to aspire, to grow, to develop, not to be trapped in whatever was we thought satisfactory in the past, but to always aspire towards something higher and more meaningful. And he was also known as Abraham HaIvri, the Hebrew. That's where the word Hebrew comes from. Ivri means from the other side. He was trans-river. He came from the other side as compared to everyone else in the world. And it didn't bother him. He didn't mind that he was all alone in so much of his thinking. In fact, he was strong enough to carry his message to a world that was very unreceptive to it. He was able to stand apart and not merely conform. He was able to conquer conformity. And this is the week in which we learn about journeys in our own lives, to recognize the responsibility to grow and to develop and to be focused on those things that are really important, to recognize the priorities of life, not just to be a nachschlepper attached to the trend, to the stream, to the fashionable, to everything that is vogue, but to be ready to pioneer new journeys and to stand apart and strong with our priorities that we share with our families. May Hashem give us the ability to be real walkers, real motivation to other people around us to make this world a better place. Have a beautiful Shabbos.